Shut up and sit down.
Hello everyone, my name is Nick, and welcome back to my channel Nick of Hong Kong. Today I'm going to be presenting the third and final part in a series of videos to help introduce the major steps of pursuing an ESL teaching position overseas. Today I'll be presenting steps 4 through 10. Step 4 is to build your professional image. It's as easy as Googling your name. If what comes up is not what you want a potential employer to see, you may want to take the time to work on creating a more professional digital image of yourself. A necessary step of any job is also preparing a CV, also known as a resume. Make sure you have an official copy, a digital one that you can have on your computer and access to at any time, with everything on it that you can think of. When it's time to submit one for a job posting, you can customize it to the expectations of that employer with relative ease. You will also find it useful to develop a range of professional accounts like that of LinkedIn, Monster, Glassdoor, and there are many other ones as well. This will help you apply for job postings and give you a professional presence online. There are several major ESL job search sites like that of Teachaway, Footprints Recruiting, and Dave's ESL Cafe. Depending on which one you choose, you're going to find a wide variety of job postings. Just make sure that you fill out your accounts entirely before you start posting for jobs. There are several different types of ESL teaching sites to find jobs on. I've used Teachaway personally and I highly recommend it. It's really great, but just make sure you fill out your profile entirely. It also has a wonderful section to have recommendations sent where you don't have to touch them at all, and so the sources are reliable. Places like recruiting agencies are also great. Footprints Recruiting is a very good one to look at. But it's important to understand that your recruiter may be a bit more eager than you to get into a certain stage of the job. Remember, although they're trying to help you find a position, they get paid to get you to a certain point in the interview. There's also sites like the older one called Dave's ESL Cafe. This is great if you want to look at many different postings and see what kind of jobs are available all over the world. The problem with this is there's often too many leads and it's hard to get any real background information on the companies or schools, so you'll have to do a lot of extra personal research. Now that you've located some websites or other places to find these positions, let's take a look at the posting. You should look at a job posting just as critically as they would be looking at your application, so don't feel bad if you're critiquing it based on maybe how it looks or the lack of information presented. Seen here is an image of a job posting on Teachaway. Once again, I'm not sponsored by them, I just really like the site. On it, we can discover all the important expectations of the company as well as a great description of the job itself. It explains eligible candidates, the roles and responsibilities of the teacher, salary, the age of students, and even benefits that the program offers its employees. Many of your questions may not be answered through these descriptions, as it's just a summary of the role and the responsibilities that you are expected to have. So make sure that as you're reading through these, you make a list of important questions and issues that you'd want to address with the employer come a potential interview or just emailing them directly. Step 6 is to research the job. If you haven't already, you will want to start narrowing down your searches here and begin to critically analyze potential jobs that you want or maybe even already applied to. Leave no stone unturned. Be able to answer all the important questions of each job as well as a few that you might not be considering at first. In the description box below, like in the prior video, I provided a link from the ESL directory to give you a list of important questions to ask your school. You may also want to make sure you understand the work ethic of not only the employer, but the country that you're moving to. In some places like Hong Kong, it is common to have a 6-day work week. These are details that vary with the position, location, and employers, but are important to know and understand as well. Also, if the job posting seems a little too good to be true, it may be. Be realistic and diligent in your search. Ask current and past employees about their experience. I would also recommend to search the web and understand that people are more likely to write a review about something if they've had a bad experience. Don't be thrown off by a few negative reviews, but don't dismiss them either. When researching your job, it is really important to understand your finances. If you're going to be paid the equivalent of, let's say, $1,000 per month, what can you get from that? You may also want to know who is typically hired for the positions and any other connections that the institutions may have. Is this an English language center or a public or private school? The job responsibilities will change depending upon the different factors. Applying for a job is often quite easy, usually just the click of a button. However, there are some employers that will still want a face-to-face interview instead of a Skype call. This may mean that you have to take a trip to the destination, more than likely on your own time and money. ESL teaching applications generally require the same information from each applicant, but this may change depending upon the school or company and specifically the location. More often than not, specific visa requirements may influence your chance of employment, so be aware if the employer favors a particular passport over another. This may have nothing to do with you as a person, but instead international restrictions on employment. During the time that you're applying for jobs, it may or may not be possible for an employer to follow up on each application. Taking the time personally to follow up on the positions that you've just applied for can show the potential employer that you are serious about the position. Just understand that because of the high competition for these positions and the ease of applying for them on the internet, that it may be impossible for the employer to give you an individual status report. Preparing for a potential interview is more than just getting ready for a Skype call or a personal meeting. Make sure you have all the documentation that they've requested ready. Some of the most common documents that you're going to be expected to have are an updated CV or resume, copies of your diploma and certifications, letters of reference, and even a professional photo. Some places may ask you for a copy of your passport. I would double check and ask them why they need this. Most of the time, companies or schools will not ask for this information until they've already offered you a position. You also want to make sure that you have your questions ready. A good example of a question that you need to ask is, can I work on a tourist visa? The answer, by the way, is always no. You should never go into a country and work on a travel visa. Most of the time, it is illegal. I know it sounds like I keep asking you to do research on this and that, but really, it is necessary. Too many times I've heard or read about a person going to work overseas and then hating it. For most accounts, it simply sounds like they just didn't know what to expect. Although you can go on a vacation and look for surprises, you should be knowledgeable and prepared for a new job and life overseas. One of the many things that people don't realize is that there's often a lot of hidden costs even before you go and move. Everything from visa costs, plane tickets, rent, and insurance. At the very least, you'll want to have a good understanding of your financial needs and responsibilities before you even consider taking a job. Personally, I'd have as much as $2,500 to access in my bank before I even left. You will also want to consider things like your safety and if the place that you're moving to will require you to provide your own transportation. Also, does the company provide you with housing, or are you responsible for finding that as well? These are all questions that you are personally responsible to answer and know. Knowledge is power. The more that you know, the better off you'll be. Ask questions and plan the best you can. You can't control everything, but there is much that you do have power over, and there is no excuse that you cannot do your best. Thank you again for joining me today. I really hope that this series has helped you in your pursuit of a teaching job overseas. There is a lot of information that you have to know when you're looking for these potential positions. Be smart, be diligent, and be honest. The reward is well worth the preparation. If you have any further questions or would like to recommend new topics for further videos, please let me know. As always, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and comment below. Thank you again for watching.